Sarah here. Okay, I may pause this halfway through because the sun is setting because Australia is ridiculous. Anyway, so this video is going to be a little bit different to all my other videos. This is not a tag, this is not a book talk, this is not anything. Something I've wanted to do since the beginning of this channel is just have a good, healthy rant, you know? Just get your emotions out. So I'm going to be doing this while cutting up pictures for my latest journal. It's Lord of the Rings. Well, Middle-earth, Tolkien inspired. Well, not inspired, it is that. And my phone's running out of battery. Are you kidding me with this? I finally decided to do this because I'm just sitting here cutting up pictures and you run out of battery. Legit. Up yours. We'll see how long this goes. I may end up just stopping and having to do it again. But basically, I've been wanting to do for a long time a rant. So when I get worked up about things that I'm passionate about, like extremely worked up, and I just need to get it out. I have journaling for that. I have my best friend who has listened to many a rant. But I decided I want to do them on videos. So this will be like a series, and I'll try and create a playlist for it. But this rant is going to be dedicated to you-know-who himself, Voldemort, okay? He just pisses me off, okay? Because, okay, I get he's the Dark Lord and he's got to be an evil dude, right? That makes sense. Okay, so you've got to be a bad guy if you're the Dark Lord. But your plans are completely illogical. They make absolutely no sense. So, he decides that because his Muggle father abandoned him and his mother, and as a result his mother died in childbirth, and he was raised in an orphanage. Now, from what I saw, the orphanage wasn't that bad, but I could have been missing stuff. She doesn't exactly go into depth of how the standards are at the orphanage. And he's a bully there from the start, and then he's convinced he wants to be special, and then when he finds out he's magic, and lots of people have magic, so that isn't that unique, he gets upset, and whatever. And he decides, because he hates his Muggle father, he not only wants to change his name, he wants to murder him and his entire family and all Muggles and just keep to the purebloods, even though he himself is a half-blood. And he works out that he's a descendant of Salazar Slytherin, and so he feels like this gives him the right, I guess. And I'm like, okay, your plan is so stupid. Have you never heard of the damage inbreeding does? Because that is what is happening with the Blacks and other pureblood families, because there's only so many of them in the world. If you don't interbreed with the Muggles, you will die out, or the Muggleborns at least. And it's just, So he decides he wants to do that, and I'm like, okay. So you recruit people, and naturally the people who join you are not the most stable of characters. They are nuts, okay? They are insane. And you're just willy-nilly like, yep, okay. So Bellatrix, for example, is like your best lieutenant or something, and so is Antonin Dolohov. They're both crazy! And Bellatrix becomes like obsessed with him, and that's a whole different video. And their actions that he does to try and get his agenda out. Like, I'm like, dude, if you were really clever about it, you would have become like Minister of Magic and then sneakily done it through. But no, let's not do that. Let's form the Ku Klux Klan for wizards and systematically wipe out people who don't agree with us. Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic idea. Didn't he learn anything from Grindelwald? Like, honestly, out of the two, Grindelwald terrifies me a lot more than Voldemort ever did. Yes, Voldemort did some pretty messed up things, but he never actually scared me. Because Voldemort's plans were stupid, okay? So stupid. So he decides to systematically wipe out. So he's killing people, okay? He's torturing people. He's using infrared. He is condemning people and other magical beings of superior intelligence. So, like, you're pissing off so many people. Like, okay, yes, they may be afraid of you, but you know what? Listen to the Jedi. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. And hate leads to terrible suffering. So, in this instance, the hate, or the anger, would lead to people rising up against you, hence the Order of the Phoenix. And, you know, you did a pretty good job of trying to wipe them out, but it just continues. People just grow to hate you, till finally, at the end of the final battle, everyone is rising up against you. You have the house elves, you have the centaurs, you have the students and teachers in the Order of the Phoenix, then later on the shopkeepers and the parents. You have the freaking Thestrals and Buckbeak the Hippogriff against you. You have Grorp against you. And I'm pretty sure if the mer people could have come out of the lake, you would have had them against you. So I'm just like, what exactly are you accomplishing with this stupid, idiotic plan? Because you're just pissing everyone off, and like we see in the Battle of Hogwarts, they rise up against you and defeat you, and you get overwhelmed by their sheer numbers. Okay? So first of all, that is the most idiotic thing. And then second thing is, the people you hire, like I said, like they're crazy, and also they're not that intelligent. Like we see that when they break into the Department of Mysteries. Okay, that just goes completely to pot. And then you've got your freaking Horcruxes, okay? That's powerful dark magic. You're making yourself less and less human. Like, legitimately, when he brings himself back, he doesn't look human anymore, okay? Dude, you were kind of charismatic when you first started out because you were good looking. I don't know if your speech has held any sway, because every time you talk, I just get irritated. So, now you've got nothing going for you except fear and possibly the ability... people might be swayed if they agree with you, but again, I'm not positive on that, because I'm convinced there were some Slytherin families who may have agreed with the Pure Plus ideas, but they didn't agree with what he was doing. So I'm just like, you're completely nuts. And so with the Horcruxes, he takes powerful magical objects that have a significant historical value, and he just ruins them by turning them into Horcruxes. And I'm just like, of all the selfish things to do. And I've talked about that in my Hogwarts tag thing, so I'm not gonna go into that in too much depth. And then he just... Okay, so like say... So the UK is rising up against you, okay? And do you even research Muggles, dude? Like, do you even know the abilities they have? Like, have you heard of a plane, a submarine, a gun, I don't know, the atomic bomb? Because the Muggles would eventually clue in if thousands of them were slaughtered. And they would rise up against you, you best believe. And then there's the fact that, I don't know if it's true at the time, but it was probably true because this was set in the 90s. And, like, there's 7 billion people on this planet, and if you're lucky, a tenth of them might have magic. Just a tenth. And yet you decide that somehow there's going to be enough to wipe everyone out. Dude, you'll die of old age before that happens. Or become a wraith again, I guess, and then come back. It's very irritating. And he just... Ugh. And then, like, talking of the other countries and the other wizarding communities, they're not going to agree with you. They're not. Because, like, okay, we know this for a fact thanks to Pottermore. The ICWQC was pissed at the Ministry of Magic when, freaking the Death Eaters attacked the Quidditch World Cup in the 4th book. They were pissed. There was international outrage that this happened. So you've pissed your followers, you weren't there to be fair, but your followers have already pissed off the rest of the planets, and they don't want to side with you, or the very, very minority wants to side with you. So they will stop you from trying to leave the UK and conquer everywhere else. They will stop you. So what exactly was your plan for that? Because, like, they would figure out pretty quick, I'd reckon, like, at least within a couple of years, when you had taken over the UK, and they would probably send in their own auras and whatnot to stop you, and stop the oppression, because you would be breaking the International Statute of Secrecy, which everyone wants to protect, and you would be slaughtering probably hundreds of magical people because they don't agree with you, or torturing them into insanity. Hello, the Longbottoms. And it would just be a whole gigantic mess, and you can best believe they would want to stop you. So what exactly was your plan for that? Because so far I can't see one. And then getting back to within the United Kingdom itself. So the Ministry of Magic takeover. Yes, you replaced the Prime Minister after you murdered him with your own little puppet, but the fact of the matter is you had already killed Amelia Bones shortly before, who was the head of the Department of Magical Law Enforcement. You killed her. Or she died shortly after. It was one of the two. I'm a little bit confused. I think it was before. So that's two main leaders within the Ministry of Magic who have been murdered. And you may hush up the Minister for Magic one, but come on, everyone knows. So people are already going to be breaking trust because their leaders have been murdered. They're not going to stand for that, you idiotic person. And then your policies of rounding up the Muggleborns and then sending them to Azkaban, that also is not going to fly. Because people will have gone to school with them. They will be friends with them. They may even be married to them. And you condemning Muggleborn children to Azkaban. Children! They're not going to fly, okay? That is children. And just your entire plan does not make any sense to me whatsoever. Like, I would say you're the wizarding version of Hitler, but I'm sorry, Hitler had more thought out plans than you did. So I'm just like, what on earth are you thinking, mate? Seriously, what? Because, like, he was clever in the sense that he could learn all of this powerful magic, and he was a strong wizard. But he was an idiot in everything else. Like, I know a lot of people say, I'm not entirely convinced this is true. A lot of people say, oh, but he was born out of a love potion, so he can't ever love, so that was the reason behind some of this stuff. And I was just like, not good enough, mate. You could at least feel affection for people, if not love. Like, you could like them. Or you should at least have a sense of loyalty. But I think Bellatrix, the way you treated Bellatrix proves you don't have a sense of loyalty to anyone. And I'm also convinced you're asexual and couldn't get it up for anyone if you tried, which is why the cursed child makes no sense to me. So, and then if you get onto the whole topic of the prophecy, right? If you had done nothing, you wouldn't have marked anyone as your equal, and therefore you wouldn't have had someone like Harry to stop you. Ever heard of the concept of a self-fulfilling prophecy? Because you created one. Just... You have no logic to your plans. None whatsoever. And if you're trying to take over the world, you need logic. You need charisma. Both of which you have none. Like, we know he had it when he was younger, but by the time we meet him in the Harry Potter books, I think he's lost it. At least he lost it when he came out of the cauldron and had no nose. So I'm just very irritated with him because you're senseless. You have no logic. I am a proud Ravenclaw. And when people are illogical, it just drives me nuts. And I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some other stuff that drives me nuts, but this has gone on for 15 minutes, so this was the first sort of rant video I've done. Now, more often than not, these are probably going to be about bad guys or morally grey characters. Snape, I'm looking at you. You've got one coming. And yeah, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Leave constructive criticism down in the comments below. But if you're just gonna hate, I'm just gonna ignore you. If it's constructive, then yeah, I'll probably respond. But if you're just gonna hate, I don't see the point. Yeah, so if you like this sort of video, let me know by leaving a like or maybe a comment. And subscribe if you want for more of this. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and my previous video is here somewhere, probably.